On behalf of the faculty and staff of Oklahoma City Community College, I'm honored to welcome you to this commencement ceremony honoring the class of 2022. Please rise for the national anthem and remain standing for the invocation by Regent James White of the Oklahoma City Community College Board of Regents.
Let's bow for prayer. We thank you, O God, for the students who have paid the price in hard work, persevering toward their diplomas or certificates. We celebrate their diligence in achieving their academic goals. We praise the families, faculty, and staff who have influenced and stewarded these graduates to this point in their career. We pray that God may guide their footsteps as they attain a career, but also to serve faithfully in some capacity which God ordained. May God bless you, class of 2022, as you graduate from Oklahoma City Community College. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Be seated, please. It's now my pleasure to introduce Regent Jalal Farzana, my colleague at the OCCC Board of Regents.
Thank you, Regent White. On behalf of the Oklahoma City Community College Board of Regents and President Dr. Matra Staley Jones, I welcome each of you to this momentous occasion. We are here to present the 49th graduating class of Oklahoma City Community College and to present them with their diplomas and certificates. We have some special message sent to our graduate. First, Dr. Barbara Gelman-Dainley is the president of the Higher Learning Commission, who oversees the accreditation of over 1,000 institutions of higher learning across 19 state regions. Oklahoma City is evaluated every 10 years to assure academic excellence across all areas of the institution. We are proud to report that the Higher Learning Commission has awarded Oklahoma City Community College with a perfect evaluation and the renewal of full accreditation. This speaks to the knowledge, expertise, and care with which our faculty and the staff treat this fine institution and its students. Although Dr. Gelman-Dainley could not be here with us today, she sends her highest regards and best wishes to every one of you. Next, before we begin, we would like to share with you a video presentation from Stephanie LeBlanc Godfrey, Global Head of Community Inclusion Programs for Women of Color at Google. Ms. LeBlanc Godfrey was unable to be here in person, but wanted to share this special message with our graduates.
Hello to the graduating class of Oklahoma City Community College. My name is Stephanie LeBlanc Godfrey, and I'm the Global Head of Inclusion for Google. My message to you today is simple, and one that my dear friend and your president, Dr. Matra Jones, shared with me during my own inflection point, like the one you're having now receiving your degree. The message is, do it afraid. And I think this is actually a reminder for you, because as a member of the class of 2022, you took the step to invest in yourself in the midst of a global pandemic and a racial reckoning. You've done it afraid. You have the proof, your degree, that you are able to stay committed to your goal and finish what you start, no matter the external forces that you had to contend with. Bravo. And now, as you're on the other side as a graduate, it's important for you to continue with that spirit, to do it afraid. And so, as you celebrate today and reflect on your achievements and determine what's next, know that you can feel afraid and still move forward. You can feel afraid and not let it control or influence your decisions. I am so proud of you at this moment, and I know the faculty and staff of OCCC, your family, your friends, and your peers are as well. Breathe it in. You did that. Congratulations to you.
Now I would like to introduce our commencement speaker, Mr. Matt Payne, CEO of Prairie Surf Media. Matt Payne is a graduate of the Film School of University of Oklahoma, where he met his longtime friend and partner in Prairie Surf Media, Rachel Cannon. He served 3 years as an adjunct professor at Oklahoma City University and travels throughout the Midwest, inspiring audience with 2 talks covering a range of topics from travel writing and photography to screenwriting. During a 15-year stint in Los Angeles, where he worked in both television and film, Emmy Award-winning Matt Payne racked up credits as a writer, a documentary filmmaker, an award-winning travel photographer and writer, public speaker and adventurer. While in Hollywood, Mr. Payne had a successful writing career. He wrote episodic television on such hit series as CBS's Vegas and Defenders and TNT's Memphis Beat, and additionally was part of production team on Fox's 24 and CBS's Without a Trace. But he realized he could tell stories from anywhere. So he and his wife returned to Oklahoma City a few years ago, so his daughter could be with family and benefit from all the good Oklahoma has to offer. And he could bring his wealth of experience to a burgeoning entertainment industry in his home state. Mr. Payne returned with the goal of create an industry that empowers other storytellers, allow them to the mentors they wish they had, and to help shape the rapidly expanding entertainment industry in Oklahoma. In 2019, Mr. Payne produced and directed Storm Chasers as part of Oklahoma's own original of Griffin Communication. He traveled the state throughout the spring of that year, tracking tornadoes with the state's best storm chaser from Channel 9 for the documentary. While Storm Chasers touches on thrill-seeking, which adrenaline junkie Payne can relate to, he told the story to highlight how the people who drive into these storms to report about tornado to the public are real-life heroes who save lives through what they do. In addition to those pursuits, Mr. Payne is the travel editor for 405 magazine and has been a contributing writer and photographer to National Geographic Traveler, Travel Age West, Explorer magazine, and many other publications. Please welcome Mr. Matt Payne.
Hello, everybody. What an honor to be here. Thank you guys for just a little bit of time. It's always interesting to hear your bio read because what I'm going to talk a little bit about is that is a very sort of diverse background for sure. I'm going to talk a little bit about what that journey was really like as it pertains to you guys as you set off from here. So my first job in Los Angeles was as a production assistant on the television show 24. And one Friday afternoon, there were a handful of us that were hanging out casually with one of the executive producers. It was a gentleman named Howard Gordon. The show had just won a Golden Globe and was a worldwide success. I was so envious of Howard for many reasons: his creativity, his talent, his power, his charm. And I remember that afternoon, I looked at him and said, in earnestness, I'd do anything to be you. He looked at me, all 22 years old of me, and said, you know what, I would do anything to be you. So here he was with all that success, all that wealth, all that acclaim, and what he was saying to me was, I want to be you. I lived in a terrible apartment in East Hollywood. I had no money, no sense of accountability, and the most important part of my job was to ensure that the writing staff, Howard included, had a delicious lunch each day. So on top of a bad apartment, I drove around in a car that smelled like a combination of barbecue and Thai food. And this was just the first of many jobs. To give you a sense of how many jobs I had in Los Angeles, I'll read them. I was a producer's intern, an assistant cameraman, a second assistant cameraman, a set production assistant, an office production assistant, a writer's production assistant, an agent's assistant, where I got fired. I was a manager's assistant, a script analyst, showrunner's assistant on a comedy, also fired. Where else? I was a showrunner and assistant on 3 different dramas, and all the while I was writing feature spec films. I moved to Oklahoma, became a travel journalist, a travel photographer, a social media travel influencer, a documentary filmmaker, a brand ambassador for Sigma lenses, and most importantly, I became a father and husband. And of all of these jobs, what was most important was becoming an adjunct professor. And finally, along with all of that experience came the opportunity to build Prairie Surf Media in downtown Oklahoma City, which I've done with my partners Rachel Cannon and Christian Kennedy. And somehow, all of those different jobs have culminated to me being here, addressing you guys on this very special day. If you'd go back in time and told Matt Payne or my wonderfully supportive mother and father who are in the audience today that the same kid who failed algebra 4 times would be doing a commencement speech at a college, I'd say you're crazy, but here we are, so let's go. There were 3 major changes in my life that have led to me standing right here, right now. And the one thing that each of those events have in common is that right before I achieved some of my greatest wins and paradigm shifts in my life was wrapped up in failure and disappointment. Going into my 4th year of college, I'd nearly failed out of OU, not because I wasn't intelligent, but because I didn't have a path. I knew that I loved storytelling, books, music, TV shows. I knew that I loved travel, but simply a passion for storytelling and wanderlust didn't do much for you. I was dangerously close to losing the opportunity of an education simply because I had no direction. My life changed the summer of 2000 when OCCC and Hollywood legend Gray Fredrickson and a handful of others started the Oklahoma Film Institute. Basically, it was a summer movie camp for adults. It was finally something that interested me. Gray, as most of you know, is a Hollywood legend, produced The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, to name a few, but he walked away from his own success to begin a film industry in Oklahoma. And it was that 3-week summer program where participants got to make a film that changed my life. Nothing like this had ever existed in Oklahoma. Film wasn't even an option. And it was magic. It began with the week of pre-production and went into a week of physical production and ended with a week-long class in editing. The 3-week film program did more for me than 3 very unsuccessful years of college could do. It gave me purpose. I loved being a part of the machine. I loved learning about how the projects were scheduled, filmed, and edited. I loved getting to know the local crew. The whole class was a ragtag group of misfits, and I fit in perfectly. My grandfather, reluctant about my new path, said when I completed the program, said that if I came home, maybe I could go back to law school, and I was determined to prove him wrong. So out of my first failure in college came the opportunity to take that program. The second, after many years in Hollywood, I started working on a television show called Without a Trace. I wanted to be a writer first and foremost, and I spent a lot of time learning how to write and practicing the craft of writing, but particularly back in 2013 and 14, there weren't very many writing jobs. I was working on the show Without a Trace that I was working on. I'd been promoted, and I was going to write the next season, so I was finally going to go from an assistant to a full-fledged writer making an honest move. Unfortunately, there was a writer's strike. And then after the writer's strike, one of the stars of the show got sideways with the show's creators. And before I knew it, the show was canceled, and that opportunity to write drifted away. And once again, I was deeply disappointed. A little bit later, I was on the phone with my sister. I called her to rant. She also lived in Los Angeles. And she was a food blogger. And she said, you know, the blog that I write for is looking for travel writers. Why don't you consider travel writing? And I was like, I can't be a travel writer. I have to write drama TV shows. And she says, well, you're not writing drama TV shows. Your show just got canceled. And I said, but that's what I have to do. But I thought about it, and I did love travel. And I said, you know what, I will. So I switched. One more time, I pivoted. I began to travel, and I did so for more than 2 years while continuing to work on television shows. During the week, I was at a desk answering phones and reading scripts. On weekends, I'd hop on a plane over the weekend, and I'd fly to Haiti or Korea. One Thanksgiving break, I found myself in rural Malaysia, living with a Muslim family and the imam of the mosque. I returned home and got promoted to write my first episode of television. Around that same time, I wrote the story about living with the Muslim family, and they came out around the same time. And suddenly, what I had was on TV, which was what I was believed that I should be, was an episode of TV where Jerry O'Connell self-induces anaphylactic shock by purposely choking on a shrimp in a courtroom, which I made an honest living for. On the other side of things, I'd written a story about culture and inclusion and difference in religion and opinion, and it was something that I was very proud of. But for this, I only made about $50. So I had an interesting decision to make. What direction did I want to go? As a last-ditch effort to stay in Los Angeles, I attempted to get into a Warner Brothers Writers Workshop program. So I wrote one more script, one more police script, turned it in, and hoped that perhaps this would gain me access to the gates of Warner Brothers, and I could write procedurals on into heaven. I sent that script off and spent the 3 months waiting for an answer, traveling around the world again. And one dreamy day in Fiji, after crawling out of the ocean, after a day of scuba diving, I received an email that said, you know what, you didn't get into the Warner Brothers Writers Workshop, and that was it for me. So reluctantly, I packed my bags and moved home. Moving back to Oklahoma City turned out to be the greatest decision that I'd done. What I wasn't aware of was that through travel writing and through following my passion, I was beginning to develop my own sense of storytelling. I was beginning to develop my own sense of purpose. What I thought I needed to be was no longer what I needed to be, and I had to make a change. So I moved back to Oklahoma City and hoped that with lower cost of living, I might be able to work permanently as a travel writer. Landing travel assignments was easier when you could take your own photographs. So I started taking my own pictures as well. The pictures led to an opportunity to make documentaries for the OETA Foundation. The OETA Foundation led to an opportunity to create content for David Griffin, and the opportunity with David Griffin, working with him led to winning an Emmy, but also the seed was planted for Prairie Surf Media. When I made these documentaries for the OETA Foundation, I made 3. One was about Pawhuska, the town of Pawhuska, and what had happened in Pawhuska was interesting. The first time I went there in about 2017, it was a dusty street in northeast Oklahoma that not too many people thought too much about, right by the tallgrass prairie, but it had this incredible main street that I was interested in photographing. As it turns out, Ree Drummond, the pioneer woman, was going to infuse a little capital into this town. Ree did that and with the idea that she would turn an old building into a mercantile, and if she could use her celebrity and a little bit of money to turn Pawhuska into a tourist destination, she would take this dusty town and turn it into a thriving spot in Oklahoma City, and she did just that. So I got to make a documentary about that. Then I got to make a documentary about the Paseo District. Now, the Paseo District, I'm sure most of you are familiar with it, but a little history, was a street that was built by G.A. Nichols back in the 20s and 30s that was ultimately abandoned until John Belt and his wife Joy Reed Belt saw some opportunity there, and they decided to turn this dusty, broke street into a meaningful art district. And now it's one of the most, it's sort of our creative hub. And the last story that I got to tell was about the Oklahoma City Thunder and how maps, when you think about Oklahoma City in the late 80s, downtown was empty, but we bet on ourselves with maps. Maps led to the Ford Center led to the Thunder, and the Thunder has changed our lives here in Oklahoma City. So when the Cox Center became available in the middle of the pandemic, I'd watched how Oklahoma City had changed, and I knew about the film industry. I knew the film industry was leaving Los Angeles for places like Georgia and Atlanta. My partner Rachel and I thought we could do the same thing here, so that's what we did. Once again, we jumped from one thing, making documentaries, into something completely different. But this time, we did it with intention. It wasn't because we hadn't succeeded. It was because we were succeeding, and we wanted to do more. Just to give you a sense of what Prairie Surf Media is, so we are a 5 soundstage facility in downtown Oklahoma City. We took the old convention center, which had no purpose, and we repurposed it with the idea that if we could attract major films here, we would create hundreds of jobs and create major economic impact. There were several things that had to happen in order to get that done for Rachel and I. We had to pass Senate Bill 608, Filmed in Oklahoma Act, which was a $30 million film rebate. We had to take over the Cox Convention Center and convert the Cox Convention Center, and we had to work with partners like OCCC to rapidly build our workforce, something that was no easy task. But now here we are, production that I cannot name. We've succeeded, and now there is a major Hollywood production that is filming in downtown Oklahoma City, and what we hope is that all the people that are coming out of the programs here at OCCC go on to work on those programs. I was so disappointed when Without a Trace got canceled, and I was so disappointed when the documentaries that I made for OETA didn't air. But the thing is, that disappointment is what's always driven me. So as I look out to you today, and I hope in sharing this story, what I want you guys to know is that failure is the most important thing to your success. I would not be the person I am today were it not for missteps. These are not failures. These are learning opportunities, and lean into what your heart tells you to do. So I want to give just a couple of tidbits of advice. I've been fortunate to work with a lot of interns from the OCCC program. A couple of you guys are out there in the audience. There are a handful of things that I tell everyone that interns for us that I'm going to share with you guys because I think it's really important. Really quick, the first is do not be afraid to ask. Do not be afraid to ask for the opportunity that you want. what winds up happening at Prairie Surf is we give jobs to the people that ask for jobs and that are persistent about jobs. The second rule is when you don't get an answer, ask again. Don't be afraid to do the work when you ask. You ask for an opportunity. You have to maximize that opportunity. Following that, you must complete what you start. There's nothing that frustrates me more than watching people start things and that they have ideas but they don't have follow through. So as you leave here, finish what you start and it'll take you forever. You must follow up. Follow up is so critical. You know, when you're reaching out to people that are going to give you opportunities, the people that you're reaching out to are likely incredibly busy. What I can tell you as someone who a lot of people reach out to me is I want to respond to everyone. The people that I wind up responding to are the people that email me 2 and 3 times and often 4 times. And what winds up happening is I say back, thank you for your patience and your persistence. Why don't you come to my office? Be curious. Your education is not ending, it's just beginning. That's a great thing. Take risks, guys. That's mission critical. My life, again and again, every success that I have is because I took a risk. And here I am today, and I encourage you to do the same. The last thing is celebrate your wins, and today is a win for every single person in this room. We only get a few really meaningful ones. Celebrate them, lean into them, and pat yourself on the back. That's what'll motivate you. That's what gives you context. And once you've celebrated it, it's time to get to work again the next day. Last of all, remember to succeed is first to fail. Figuring it out, learning is the best part of journey, which takes me back to when Howard Gordon looked at me in the set of 24 and he said, I would do anything to be you, while at the time I thought, what a strange thing for such an accomplished man to say that to me. What I can tell you guys now as a 44-year-old owner of a movie studio right down the street, as I look out to you, I understand exactly what he meant. You guys have a great life ahead of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Payne, for being here to support our graduates. Dr. Thomas and I would like to present you with a token of our gratitude. Come back up, please.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you for those insightful words. I know many were inspired.
Thank you.
Thank you again for those inspiring words. We'd also like to acknowledge our special guests in the audience that have joined us to celebrate the graduates today. Thank you for supporting us throughout the year and being here. It is with great honor that I welcome the Oklahoma City Community College class of 2022 to your new future. The OCCC community is delighted to celebrate your accomplishments on this very special day for you and your loved ones. Give yourselves a round of applause. You persevered through a worldwide pandemic, navigating through one of the most difficult times in our city, state, and nation with grace and fortitude. There are moments in our life when we accomplish extraordinary feats and learn that we have what it takes to overcome adversity. You endured, you overcame, you have already proven that you have what it takes to be successful. I would like to challenge you. I would like to challenge you to keep reaching for the stars. I challenge you to always believe. I challenge you to envision yourself as an agent for change, and I challenge you to be creative and forward-thinking in everything that you do. You are our future leaders, and it is you that will shape the world far different than we see it as today as you prepare us for tomorrow. I believe in you along with all the faculty and staff of this great institution. As you embark on your journey, take time. Take time to volunteer. Take time to get involved. Take time to breathe. Take time to know yourself. Discover your passion. Discover your purpose. Purpose is that element that will give you true fulfillment even when your journey becomes difficult. It is important that you never forget where you came from, but always remember to appreciate it, and that you will learn many things during your walk of life and throughout your educational journey that you must acknowledge. It is important that you embrace those discoveries and realize that they are shaping you to be the person you are today and the person that you will be in the future. Those experiences will ultimately give you wisdom. You will then share words of wisdom with future generations of youth, just as I am doing today. You should never be afraid to accept a challenge. Never be afraid to make a mistake. Never be afraid to ask why. And never be afraid to chart new territory that will potentially reshape your life. Dr. Maya Angelou once said, if you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. You have no idea what you are capable of if you never try. Every successful person made errors and failed before they were successful. Those are, again, valuable life lessons, which can only be learned through trial and error as they shape who you are. As you map your next life's journey, always remember to embrace, respect, and love others, as it can take only one act or word of kindness that could make a difference in someone else's life. You will find that all the things you build in life, none will be more key to your happiness, more likely to endure than relationships. Remember that the best way to lift up yourself is by lifting up others. Let's celebrate our strengths, successes, continued success, and creating an environment that will foster forward thinking and future growth. I am forever grateful to our vast support system of faculty, staff, parents, friends, families, workforce partners, and our community for giving us collective strength. It is now my pleasure to introduce OCCC's Provost, Dr. Jeremy Thomas.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Will the graduating class of 2022 please stand? Honored guests, members of the OCCC Board of Regents, and President Jones. Each of the students standing before you has completed or will complete this summer all the requirements for a certificate or an associate degree. I present these candidates to you with the recommendation that the appropriate certificates and degrees be conferred upon them. President Jones, what say you?
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. It is my privilege to honor your recommendation. Students, by the authority vested in me by the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education and the Oklahoma City Community College Board of Regents, I confer upon each of you the certificate or the associate degree for which you qualify. As a symbol of your graduation, please move your tassel from the right to the left. Congratulations. To the graduating class of 2022, thank you for allowing us to be part of your college education. I know you will achieve great things in the future as good citizens of the state of Oklahoma and good people in our world. When directed, please visit the stage to receive your certificate or degree. It is now time to present these deserving students with their certificates or degrees.
Skyla Haywood. Carol Laverne Jones. Rosario Castro. Kriston Harris. Suzanne Garvey. Tony R. Rose. Bessie Lopez. Ashley Edovin. Nadia Rose Johnson. Emiliano Ortiz. Cassandra Barraza Lachuga. Jimena Sanchez Rivera. Cambry Brewer. Bree Taylor. Oslin Lanchi. Bailey Rodriguez. Kelly Swaim. Juliette Joy Keller. Megan Davis. Carson Lewis Hearn. Samuel Brown. Kelly Mullinex. Prairie Mitchell. Angela Branham. Sarah McElroy. Alan Villegas. Nicholas Weaver. Secoria Andrea Evans. Abigail Rose Kiefer. Carlos Andres Arango. Dejan A. Pedrasanta. Destiny McCaleb. Sophia Lazo. Brittany Boys. Neva Chun Lee. Maria Hachida. Naima Mahmood. Olivia Valenciano. Maribel Garcia. Ashley Walters. Caleb Wallace. Justin John. Janine Harris. Janine Harris. Brooke Mooney. Alondra Perez. Daisha Ann Rodriguez. Neosha Golson. Vernice Sundevel. Charlie Mohawk Bernard. Casey Corneliuson. Madeline Riley Brandt. Tanika Clack. Carla Celine Lopez Casas. Mary Galswick. Isabel San Roman. Evangeline Noah. Yosef Cal Twandin. Israel Villanueva. J. Russell Smith. Julissa Rojo. Graciela Chavez. Bethany Fisher. Melissa Jodine Velasco. Casey Miller. Jamise Tyree. Autumn Merrill. Francoline Michelle Pewo Owonsa. Bailey Talkington. Matthew James Clontz. Claudia Isabel Longoria. Colby Woodbury. Janie Alcocer. Marcela Mendez. Jasmine Marquez. Myra Lopez. Vernice Hernandez. Brandy Grant. Alondra Yvonne Rocha. Yamilet Sanchez. Yvette Robles. Katie Gonzalez. Eric Franco. Lily Stat. Diana Agi Naga. Thelma Jean Saylor. Gabriella Gibson. Ashley Davis. Tara Van Gorder. Rebecca Hernandez. Paige Ashlyn Herrera. Emily Megan Kuhn. Linda Ann Gunner. Jordan Apple. Braden Kent. Naeem Flowers. Casey Scoggins. Jennifer Smith. Annabelle Hernandez. Brenda Villalobos. Wendy Villalobos. Sergio Garcia Jr. Charlotte Burke. Annabelle Franklin. Jaylene Nayeli Anchondo. Shelby Elliott. Jonathan King. Josue Garcia. Malachi Harding. Abelino Cruz. David Gayton. Courtney Herman. Allison Cole. Trenton Watkins. Thela Villegas. Sergio Ruben Martinez. Aaron Copeland. Alyssa Stuntsman. Stephanie Shelton. And Autumn Carty.
What a wonderful evening. Can we give everyone another round of applause? This ceremony has now concluded, but the celebration continues. Congratulations to the graduating class of 2022.